time.
Hi.
Welcome everyone to this special press conference for Cop Car coming from Anchor Bay Entertainment. September 29th on VOD, also DVD on October 6th. Also playing festivals all over the world like Fantasia, where we're going to have a wonderful Canadian premiere tonight, right across the street, sold out screening. We just announced the second screening, so check the notes on that.
There's no one in there. No way.
Try this one.
Awesome.
What if someone sees us?
We'll just tell them we're cops.
Good idea.
In case if there was any question, we have here the co-writer, director of Cop Car, Jon Watts, and the producer, star of Cop Car, Kevin Bacon. So, John, maybe I'll start with you, and if you could tell the audience about the genesis of Cop Car, how this film came together. The inspiration.
Yeah, the inspiration, it's inspired by a dream that I've had since I was a little kid, where I'm about 10 years old. I'm in the passenger seat of my mom's car. My friend Travis, who is also 10, is driving. And we're driving around my small town, and we're passing people that know us, but they're not doing anything or saying anything or trying to stop us. And Travis is going faster and faster, and I'm getting more and more worried. And then I wake up, and it's just like a recurring stress dream that I've had since I was a little kid. And I just thought there's something evocative about that image of just two 10-year-olds in a car. I thought maybe if it was a police car, there was a movie there, but not quite. And then I pitched it to my friend Chris Ford, who I write with, and I told him all of that, and he said, well, whose cop car is it? And then we were like, oh, okay, yeah. And then from that point on, we sat down and wrote it, and then it all came together within like a year from sitting down to writing it to it playing it at Sundance.
And Kevin, what inspired you to get behind the wheel of Cop Car as both a star and producer?
Well, you know, I read the script. It came to me through my agent, the regular channels. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't find it in the garbage or anything.
Tied to a brick and thrown through your way.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen that way. And I thought it was it's an unusual script because it's in some ways very understated, but in some ways incredibly descriptive in a way that made me think that the writers had a really, really clear vision for what they wanted to put on the screen. You know, that's something that you can kind of get a sense from in a screenplay. And I liked the idea that the character was a little mysterious, you know, that you don't really know exactly why he's doing what he's doing, and you don't really know the kind of the backstory of who he is. Sometimes that's what I call, you know, you're kind of acting between the lines, right? Because you don't have the scene where you say, well, this is who I am. You have to kind of like act in between the words in a way. So I sort of like that idea. And then I went and looked at a movie that John had done, you know, sort of in a different genre. It's a more kind of straight up horror movie. But I'm a big fan of horror, and I thought he just crushed it. I thought it was a really, like, you know, based on the premise, a shockingly kind of engaging and scary, and obviously made for a price, but really, really well executed. And so I just signed up.
That was Clown that Kevin's talking about. I think we're ready for some questions from the press. And Francois has the first question.
Hi, question for Mr. Bacon. I had the chance to speak already with Mr. Watts. Like I told him, I was reminded sometimes during the film of Night of the Hunter because of the two kids on the lam and the boogeyman after them. And I was wondering if you had Robert Mitchum in mind anywhere during the creation of the character.
Well, I like the Robert Mitchum reference because I think he's great. I'm embarrassed to say that I've never seen Night of the Hunter. I'll go and check it out.
It's really good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see it. You know, I've been, you know, it's not the first time someone has mentioned Robert Mitchum to me, and I think he was fantastic. I tend to not try my best not to look at other performances in order to figure out how to do a performance. You know, I really, really love actors and I love to see great work, but I kind of think it's kind of off the point to try to do what somebody else did. I think it's really more about trying to find either a real person to reference or to try to create a character, you know, based on yourself and people that you have come in contact with, and you know, I like frankly documentaries when it comes to basing characters on people. I think that's a better way to weigh in.
Okay, next question.
Hi, I really enjoyed the movie.
Thanks.
My question is, I have never seen a movie that is so difficult to describe in a critique without giving the plot away. So I want you to help me with that. Thank you.
I don't like giving anything away either. All we ever say is it's about two 10-year-olds that find a police car abandoned in the middle of a field. And then it's a story about the sheriff who wants to get it back. But I don't know, what else? What else should we say? I don't want to give any of it away. Not a lot happens in it. It's very simple. I don't know. It's like a Amblin Entertainment Coen Brothers thriller. That's what someone said once, which I think is kind of cool.
Mike?
On the point you made about basing characters on real people, have either one of you had encounters with nasty cops in the past that might have informed the performance or the conception of the character?
I was down in, I was on the border, driving across country with my dogs. Two dogs in the back of my station wagon. And I was on the border of Oklahoma and Texas. And, you know, I pulled into this town and I didn't see that the speed had dropped. And I was pulled over and, I mean, literally this place really felt like it was in the middle of nowhere. And the cop got out. We were outside a convenience store, and a couple of people kind of wandered out by the gas pumps to see what was going on. And he got out and he asked me to get out of the car. And we walked back to his car and he said, "Get in the passenger seat." And I sat down in the passenger seat and I'm sitting there and he's like typing on the computer and checking things and, you know, doing this and doing that. And he goes, "I wanted you to know that Footloose is the first film that I ever went to the movies to see. So you got to slow down."
Your dogs got off easy?
The dogs got off easy, yeah. Luckily, they, yeah, because they, you know, yeah, it could have not been good, but it was fine.
Okay, right in the back there.
Thanks, guys. Love the movie. I mean, I guess my question, Kevin, for you is because you mentioned about acting in between the lines, but really for the first like 15, 20 minutes when you're on screen, there's almost no dialogue from you. And I'm kind of curious, how much freedom did you have from Jon to almost improvise and sort of create the character again with no words, or was a lot of that on the page in terms of how you're supposed to behave in that specific moment?
I think a lot of it was on the page, and then we just kind of started talking about it, you know, and started talking about who the guy would be. I mean, I think we were both agreed that even if it's not said, that we have to have a pretty, you know, kind of a clear understanding. So, you know, I did the same sort of work that I would do with any character where, you know, I figure out where he's from and what he likes and what he doesn't like and what his past is, you know, all those kinds of things. It's basically I consider it like an autobiography that I kind of write, and then we just sort of started to talk about it. But So freedom, yeah, I think there was a lot of freedom, but I also think that when things worked or didn't work, he was very, very clear about it, and would say yes, no, and it was, I think to tell the story of somebody, as I said, without words is it's something that I didn't really understand when I was a young actor, because I would look at a script and say, well, shit, I don't have any lines. I mean, I don't have as many lines as this guy, so how am I going to be able to do? I mean, I remember that with Diner, a movie I did a long time ago. My part didn't have a lot of lines, and I was like, oh shit, how am I going to, like, I'm going to be left in the dust because everyone else is going to have a chance to play all these, cool scenes. I think over time I've sort of learned that that's not really the way it works. That the camera is a beautiful piece of machinery in that it can see past what's coming out of your mouth, and just see what's going on in your eyes and with your body and all that kind of stuff. So it was fun in that way. It was fun, and it was his idea in the screenplay to try to tell the story with nothing being said.
Great. Some more questions? Yeah, right here.
I love the film.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, for Jon, a lot of the times...
From the outset, you had decided that you were going to work with two kids, but a lot of times directors are kind of shying away from having to work with two young people. So I was just wondering how you went about casting them and how they felt about the screenplay overall.
They were great. That thing about it being difficult to work with kids, I don't understand it, because kids are it's all so new and fresh to them that they don't have to work to make something be real, because it's all very real to them. Like, you put them in a car that you're, towing down the road, those are real reactions that you're getting. They don't have to act. But we were also very lucky to find them. We did a nationwide casting search, and Hayes, the kid with longer hair, is from Virginia, and James is from New Jersey. And they just had this seriousness that I was really looking for, where even though they could be making 10-year-old decisions, you had to believe that they had really thought about it and were making it, that they had really puzzled it out on their own and really believed in these decisions. So I picked the two of them. I didn't know who was going to be who, and we flew them out to Colorado, where we shot, and then we had them read for both. This is like 2 days before we were shooting, and then it was pretty obvious who should play who. And all we had to do, James had like a Justin Bieber haircut. We had to we had to shave his head, which he didn't want to do, and then he thought it was pretty cool. But it was great working with them. I mean, as a director, you just really have to keep your energy up the whole time, because the moment that you are distracted or your energy drops, they're gone.
What I loved about the actors in the film is they're not like movie actors; they're like real kids.
Yeah.
They were very natural, and the dialogue, the camaraderie, it was like how real kids talk, which is sometimes you don't get out of most movies. Could you address that a little?
Our joke is that not only does the movie star two 10-year-olds, but it's also like it's written by two 10-year-olds. Like, I write with my best friend, Chris Ford, and it's very easy to write like a 10-year-old when you're hanging out with your buddy.
Great. Yeah, right here.
This is for Kevin Chad-Dunleavy, Montreal Gazette. This is quite a mean, sadistic, kind of bad character that you're playing, and I'm wondering how you thought of that in the context of other roles that you've played, and also how you tried to temper the character, given that he also provides a lot of the comic relief in the film.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been shied away from playing bad characters. I mean, I've done some pretty horrible shit, let's face it. I mean, so I tend not to kind of even categorize them as good guys and bad guys, a lot of people ask me if it's more fun, sort of quote unquote, to be a bad guy, and I don't really feel that way necessarily. I feel like characters are fun because they're interesting and well written, and they're different from someone that I did before, and somehow I've found something interesting in them, whether it's whether what they're doing is right or what they're doing is wrong, or somewhere in the middle, which it generally is. I didn't really think about tempering it with comedy. I kind of feel like maybe in another situation, but in a way I sort of felt like that was really up to Jon, you know. But I just I enjoyed him. I like the fact that when you think about it, he had to have started out feeling like he was, you know, going to uphold the law and protect the innocent. And somewhere along the way, he started to make some bad decisions. And so, you know, the fact that he was electable and obviously has a certain amount of, you know, homespun charm was a nice kind of juxtaposition to his desperation and his you know, his, as you call it, mean streak.
Some more questions. The subject matter of the film, and considering what's going on in the States today, did the idea of a bad cop lend the film any unwelcome or welcome relevancy?
Yeah, actually, we didn't know, but there had been a scandal in one of the counties in Colorado where we were shooting. I don't know the details of it, but when you show up with your production and start meeting with all the local police officers, they're like, is this about that guy? Like, are you making fun of us? Is this based on anything? And we had no idea. So once they realized that we were clueless about that, they totally got on board.
Cool. Some more questions from you guys.
We've got time for one more question, and then if we do that, we're gonna do a quick photo shot next to the posters over there. So we will get one more opportunity for some quick photos, but we have time for one more question. Anyone out there?
Come on, make it a good one. Well, maybe each of you could tell us what you have coming next.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's just sort of up in the air. Looking at a couple projects.
Okay. And Kevin?
You know, just doing what I can with what I've got. No, I have a movie called Black Mass that I have a small part in that's coming out, which I just saw the other day. It is excellent. Excellent movie about Whitey Bulger, who was a kind of notorious gangster in Boston. Johnny Depp and Joel Edgerton and a whole bunch of people are in it. And after that, I don't know. I'm trying to decide. I'm on the horns of a dilemma, as my mother-in-law would say. I have no idea what that means, but that's what she says.
It's a good name for a movie.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it for Jon and Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cop Car.
Is not in service at this time.